Welcome to the Truth Report. I'm Barry Nussbaum. A lone gunman who was said to be distraught over President Trump's election opened fire on members of the Republican Congressional baseball team at a practice field in a Washington suburb last Wednesday. Using a rifle to shower the field with bullets that struck 4 people, including Steve Scalise, the majority whip of the House of Representatives, it was a horrible day for Washington. President Trump, in a televised statement from the White House, condemned the very, very brutal assault, and he said the gunman had died after a shootout with the police. Law enforcement authorities have identified the shooter as James Hodgkinson, 66, from Bellevue, Illinois, a suburb of St. Louis. 2 members of Scalise's Capitol Police security detail were also wounded as they exchanged fire with the gunman in what lawmakers described as several chaotic, terror-filled minutes that turned the baseball practice field into an early morning nightmare. One was wounded by gunfire, and one suffered other minor injuries. Today, on the Truth Report, we will examine what happened in Virginia, why it happened, and the reaction of liberals to the shooting. James Hodgkinson had an assassination list in his pocket when he shot the Republican Congressman on Wednesday. He was intending to carry out a list of numerous murders after the shooting where he was killed. Clearly, if the field was not protected by 2 members of the Capitol Police, many Republican congressmen would have died that day on the ball field, and probably many more. Scalise, like other members of the leadership, is assigned a full-time security detail from the U.S. Capitol Police, who guard him in Washington at his home in his district. His detail was credited with putting down the attacker and saving probably countless lives. If the shooter was not killed that day at the ball field, a number of other Republican congressmen in other locations would have been at great risk of being the next victims of Hodgkinson. The handwritten list was found later belonging to Hodgkinson, and the FBI said the lawmakers named on the list are all known to be conservative members associated with the Freedom Caucus. They are Representatives Scott DeJarlais, Trent Franks, Jeff Duncan, Jim Jordan, Mo Brooks, and Morgan Griffith. Every single one Republican and all conservatives. Investigators believe that Hodgkinson, 66, did not have any outside support and acted on his own. Officials also said he had a history of run-ins with the law, including arrests for battery, drunken driving, and complaints about him shooting off his rifle in public. Officials were aware Hodgkinson was living out of a white cargo van in Alexandria, Virginia for months and had been showering and working on a computer at a nearby YMCA. Get this, Hodgkinson was a volunteer with Bernie Sanders' failed presidential campaign. The Vermont senator said shortly after the incident in a statement, it appears as well he's a Bernie Sanders fan. His Facebook page reads, Democratic Socialism in 3 words, we the people. One of his more recent posts says, Trump is a traitor. Trump has destroyed our democracy. It's time to destroy Trump and company. And, as usual, nobody complained. He wrote in 2016, I want Bernie to win the White House. Bernie is a progressive, while Hillary is Republican light. Bernie is the only candidate in decades that really cares about the working class, according to Hodgkinson. No sooner did the news break that a gunman had shot Republican Steve Scalise from Louisiana than left-wing Twitter users celebrated the attack all over social media. In spite of the fact 2 Capitol Police officers were also shot, as well as a congressional staffer. Here's a few of them, and there are thousands. Activist and media personality Tariq Nasheed appeared to indicate his support for the shooting on Twitter. Sonia Gupta, a former prosecutor from Scalise's home state of Louisiana, offered up this, quote, before you drop to your knees to pray for Steve Scalise, remember that he is a racist piece of shit and a hateful bigot. Twitter user Leon Trotsky wrote, Scalise's shooting was karma for his teabag beliefs. And then he tweeted, Alexandria is a direct result of Scalise's votes in Congress and his teabagging beliefs. This is what you voted for, Trumpsters. No whining. Twitter user Charles Oakley wrote, the KKK effer deserved it. Technology writer Walt is Frozen said the attack will have a silver lining if the shooter was indeed targeting Republicans specifically. Are you getting the hatred, America? This is public, and there are thousands of these tweets. There's great irony in what happened and how it's been reported in the mainstream media. The shooter was not a right-wing conservative, pro-Second Amendment nut. He was a left-wing progressive, hater of the right wing and conservatives. This is a man who consistently preached hatred of conservatives and openly called for the death of President Trump. He is not unlike we have been reporting on since the very left-leaning Madonna and others did the same thing at the Women's March in Washington in January of this year. Remember her speech about blowing up the White House? The reporting by CNN last week on the congressional ball players' reaction to the shooting really takes the cake. When the game finally took place, the one in which the Republican team was practicing, there was a bipartisan prayer on their knees on the field that included all the participants of both teams kneeling in prayer together, all of the Democrats and all of the Republicans. But look how CNN reported it. Even when the congressional ball players from both sides of the aisle get together and pray together in nonpartisan support for Congressman Scalise, CNN can't help but create fake news. In the CNN report, only the Democrats pray. You would have thought, if your news only came from CNN, wow, the Democrat baseball players are good guys. They pray. Why won't the Republicans pray for their fallen colleague? The truth is shown in the second picture, with the narrative that in reality, all baseball players prayed together at midfield, arm in arm, Democrats and Republicans. President Trump lookalikes are killed by Kathy Griffin, Snoop Dogg, and a play in Central Park, New York, where Trump is slain in front of the crowd every night. And when the media is so slanted and so anxious to demonize Republicans and support Democrats, it's understandable that eventually a crazy person here or there across America will feel justified in carrying out violence for real. And this is what happened in Virginia last week. Stay in touch, America. We'll follow up on this story. You can write to me directly by sending me an email to barry@americantruthproject.org and go to our website where you can sign up to be on our mailing list so you never miss an important episode. It's free. You can handle the truth, and we intend to bring it to you. I'm Barry Nussbaum.